Good morning and a big welcome to absolutely no one so far on our first day of live. I'm your host, Mr. Russell. We're just here trying to get through this. As you can tell, I've started the lesson already despite the fact that no one's here. And rules for live first. Whenever we go through these rules, we're just going to discuss the basics of being on live. So the first thing in our rules for live is that you should mute yourself as soon as you come on. That way, whenever I start doing instruction, we won't have any distractions in the background. Everybody will be able to hear what I'm saying. Additionally, you should remain muted unless you have a question. You can either ask a question using question and answer in the Google Meet, or raise your hand and I will see it on the screen. Important to note, after my first period class, somebody said that I wasn't answering their question and they had their hand raised. If you don't have your camera turned on, there's no way for me to know that your hand is raised. So make sure that you are turning your camera on if you're going to raise your hand to ask a question. Additionally, in a small class like this, you could just ask the question, unmute yourself, ask the question, no big deal. Number 3, be attentive. I don't want to hear any snoring in the background. Make sure you're paying attention to what we do. That way you can actually learn this stuff. And number 4, come on time. We've been instructed to start our Google Meets at exactly the time listed, whether you're here or not. So if I turn my Google Meet on at 10 a.m., they want me to start teaching at 10 a.m., even if there's no one in the Google Meet. So you definitely want to be here on time. There's 15 minutes between classes. You should have enough time to get your stuff done that you need to done before coming to the next class. All right, that is basically it for our Google Classroom rules. Does anybody have any questions on any of those? Okay, good. All right, let's go to our CS First classroom. Now yours is going to look a little different than mine. You're going to go onto yours and click the Art activity. Same thing that we've been doing for a couple weeks here. Maybe. Well, this is fun. All right, give me a second. So scroll down to that page, to Graffiti, and click Graffiti Starter Project. All right, now your little blob here might look different than mine. The only thing is if you want a different color, or not a different color, but a different shape of spray paint, you can click Costumes and change it to whichever one you want. If you want that to be smaller, we can come over here to Size and just downsize it. This is at 40. I can turn it down to 30. Or put it at 300 apparently. And it makes it smaller. You make it smaller or bigger based on that size. The goal for the day is to create code that'll make this spray paint work. So the first thing you'll notice is I have a blank thing over here. I have to click Remix, obviously. And let's rename this with our first name, last initial, and Graffiti 1. All right, once we have this named, now my goal is that I want to be able to spray paint using my mouse. So anywhere that I want to spray paint, I want it to follow my mouse in order to do that. When do I want it to start doing it? That's why we have to start adding controls in. So my events in. Whenever I click the green arrow or the green flag, I want something to happen. So I'm going to make that my event that I click to start. Okay. Anytime I want something to happen that's motion or uses motion, just click motion. And I said I want this to follow my mouse pointer around, so I'm going to do a go to. And instead of random position, make it mouse pointer. Now when I click the green flag, you'll notice that this comes directly to where my mouse pointer was at the time. But if I continue to move my mouse pointer, see it doesn't follow it around. It just goes to where the mouse pointer was when I click the flag. So that creates a problem for us. It's because it's going to the mouse pointer one time. So we need to go and add a control in and make this a forever loop. So that it's forever going to my mouse pointer. Now when I click the green flag, you're going to notice it follows the mouse pointer around. So it's going to follow that around forever until I click the stop. Any questions so far? Okay, good. So now let's move on. We want it to actually make paint, right? So right now it's just following my mouse pointer around, but it's not making any paint. So we click down on this blue block here, and that's going to allow us to open up a pen so that it will actually start painting. So we click on pen, and now we have all these options. Pen down, pen up. We're going to use the stamp function. And if I just drop it in, you're going to notice that I don't really have any control over where it starts. So it's painting all the time now. So if I wanted to do something in my paint, I'm going to click erase all over here. If I wanted to do something in my paint where I painted something, see how it creates a problem? I mean, it's good for cursive, but I don't have any space between my letters. So I want to actually add some control to this so I can figure it out. So I can space everything out the way I want it and only paint when I want it to occur. So I'm going to click a control and I'm going to add an if-then statement. Now, are any of you taking geometry right now? Yeah. So have you guys started to look at if-then statements in geometry? So if something happens, what's that? Yeah. You should. I was going to say you should be by now. With if-then statements, it just says that if something is happening, then something else happens. So that's how we can add control to this. So I'm going to put my stamp within the if-then statement. And then I go to sensing. I'm going to add a conditional to this. So you can see this is a hexagon, and so is this space. If I put it up here, you can see it turns white. That means it's going to go inside of it. So now, whenever I have this, by the way, I just click pen and erase all. When I have this is going to follow my mouse pointer around all the time. But the only time it's going to start painting is when I'm holding the space bar down. Now if I want to add a gap, I can do that by letting go of the space bar. So now we have what we want. Now, I shouldn't have to make people come into my code in order to erase what's already on there. So I'm going to drop an erase all in front of the forever loop. This way, every time we restart it, it all goes away. So everything erases as soon as we restart the program, and we can repaint again. So that's the first part of our program. Anybody have any questions on that? Don't sound so excited. You're too hyped up right now. Nothing. You didn't even have anything else to say to that. All right. So now I want to make it so I can change my colors. So I'm going to add another control in, another event in. Do that every time, I think. Put the green flag click in. So whenever the green flag is clicked, I'm going to make my color switch. So we'll put the control in. If something happens, then, and now we'll make our color switch. We'll do change color effect by 25. And now we just need to figure out what control we can put in here for the conditional. So I'm going to do key space pressed again. When I click on this down arrow, I can change it. I'm going to make it so that every time you push the C, it changes the color effect by 25. C standing for color. Push the green flag. Now I'm painting. If I push C, should be changing my colors here, but it's not. I don't know why. Instructions that come with it. So we want to add an instructional element to this so that they know what to do. So we can choose a sprite. We'll pick any one. Start with Avery. And then I'm going to put an event in. The green flag being clicked. Drop a look in. And instead of say hello, I'm going to actually put the instructions in there. Move the paint. Just move your mouse. Paint. I'm actually going to do this in multiple text blocks, just so it's a lot more time for instructions. Okay, so now we have her giving instructions, and this should start with every time I click the green flag. Logistically, it was a little fast for her giving us the instructions. So I would want you to switch that to maybe 3 or 4 seconds for each one, just to help you. And you want your users to be able to read. All right, that is about it for today. If you guys have any questions at all,